coal, and they never have a full head of steam, so he hasn't got the power.
So
the diesel power.
steam will come to an end, no question.
That's probably
In
the
other
reason
words,
that he
there's
told
no
you.
problem.
Everything was in good
Because
shape.
the unreasonable thing was stopping the vehicle, the ferries, running.
I think he burned himself up running the ferry. Mr. Tryon will tell you he used to work on Sunday at 9 o'clock at
I
night.
don't know
until
whether they're satisfied now.
all the cars are clear. He never
Did
did
you
it.
find them all, you see?
Every Sunday.
See them
I think
competing
it's got to do with the water and with the boat building.
Once I lived a life of a millionaire, spending my money I didn't care. I carried my friends out for a good time, buying bootleg liquor, champagne and wine. When I began to fall so low, I didn't have a friend and no place to go. So if I ever get my hand on a dollar again, I'm gonna hold on to it till them eagles grin. Nobody knows you.
Well, we feel that so much of Auckland's early history is disappearing so rapidly that it's essential for the public of Auckland, and well, we hope a little further than Auckland, to realise that these things existed and that they formed much of our early heritage.
My feet again. Then I'll meet my long-lost friend.
Oh, well, when you see them, it's a sad sight. One that's known them for many years, and Auckland has lost in one respect an asset. There's the old Tauranga and the Takapuna and the Makora there, but now, there they are. I think the day will come when the smaller ones will come back again, have to come.
Oh, because they're quite old and...
Just because they're ferries.
And I think we should try and remember some of these things. Because it's a nice big boat.
The ferry boats are one of our enthusiastic aspects of our life.
Well, the ferry service that ran for so many years has been abandoned. Just on our right there is the remains of the old ferry wharf. It's now some sort of a tavern, I expect, or an inn. And there's no sign of the wharf. The ferries have gone forever. We have this marvelous bridge here with all the convenience that it brings, but at the same time it's brought a tremendous population with all the problems of growth and so forth. Still, that is progress, and there's nothing we can do about it.
No, I don't feel sad because Father always wanted progress. And my brother said, well, they'll have a bridge soon, because they always grumbled at Northcote. They were never satisfied.
Well, they wanted to try out the new toy anyway. It was something new. It was our bridge, as we call it in Auckland.
The authority estimates it'll be at ultimate carrying capacity, which represents an average daily traffic of 116,000 vehicles. We'll reach that figure by 1980.
Well, of course, I don't think the authorities as such were greatly interested in the ferry service at all.
I think the solution, of course, is another bridge.
If you take Sydney and San Francisco, you've got two cases where, with the building of bridges, they've been proved not to be the answer.
More ferries,
and they've had to go back to ferry boats anyway.
I don't think they will ever replace the motor car.
And, for instance, on one occasion I had a cause to remind one of the councils of the fact that, as far as I saw it, the breadth of their vision was about the width of the windscreen of their car.
But I don't know whether they're satisfied now with their bridge.
Well, it was on the 1st of May, 1860, that Captain Kreeft made Waitemata history when he piloted the Emu from Auckland across to Devonport. That was the first sailing in the new ferry service, and after that, the days of the whaleboats were gone forever.
Well, Father came here when he was 3, and when he was 14, he built the first boat to row across the harbour, because there wasn't any ferry boat. There wasn't any way of crossing.
Knocking at my door? Who's that knocking at my door? Cried the fair young maiden.
It's only me from over the sea. Barnacle Bill the sailor. I'm all lit up like a Christmas tree. Barnacle Bill the sailor. I'll sail the seas until I croak.
Oh, well, I first came here in May 1947, and we had a big ferry fleet in those days. We had 3 boats running to Devonport Vehicles, 2 passengers, and we had 3 boats to Birkenhead and 2 passengers there, and a Bayswater ferry, and in the peak periods a Stanley Bay ferry. And when I was first here, we used to have the old Stanley Bay wharf. We used to call there and away from Devonport occasionally. They had a long wharf with a T-piece on the end. The Devonport ferry used to call at Stanley Bay. We didn't have the Jellicoe wharf. The only wharf, the last one down, was the Bledisloe wharf. It was wide open spaces from then on up to the eastern tide deflector. And yes, I like being on ferries. I'm used to it, been doing it for years on and off.
Bust in the door. Barnacle Bill the sheriff. A rare and tear and rant and roar. Barnacle Bill the sheriff. A your wine and eat your pies. I'll kiss your cheeks and black your eyes.
Oh, yes. I lean that way. Some people sort of lean to the ferries. I'm one of them. I enjoy it.
Oh yes, of course, it was the Prince of Wales' birthday in 1887. And just previous to this, there'd been an opposition company started to the ferries. And they both ran an excursion steamer to St Heliers Bay. And on the way back, the skippers decided to have a race. Well, they came within 14 feet of one another. And the old Victoria had about 500 passengers on board. But the most amazing thing, I think, afterwards was the inquiry held by the Harbour Board. To start with, the Marine Department said they'd take no action. Well, it was about the finest Gilbert and Sullivan affair I think anyone could read. But in the end, the thing simply faded out. But for years afterwards, it was the talk of Auckland, of this race on the Prince of Wales' birthday.
Once I lived a life of a millionaire. Spending my money, I didn't care. I carried my friends out for a good time, buying bootleg liquor, champagne and wine.
it was the Britannia, and she was very beautifully built. And down in her cabin was red plush cushions with a long seat that had a round seat, you know. And my sister took me to town when I was 3, and I got up and ran round these seats, and she told me to get down, and I didn't.
The old steam ferry's gone, what with the price of coal and all like that. And that is one thing that people today don't realise, that the cost of running ferries or running steam at all is gone up so tremendous. And in the turn of the century, they were paying 69 cents a tonne for coal. Well, I think today it's about £10 a tonne.
Coal, and they never have a full head of steam. So he hasn't got the power.
And so steam has come to an end.
That's probably
In
the
other
reason
words,
that he
there's no profit in passing.
everything was in good
Because
shape.
the unreasonable thing was stopping the vehicle of ferries from running.
I think he burned
In the other
himself
parts
up
of the world,
running the ferries.
ferries
Mrs. Prime will tell you he used to work on Sunday at 9 o'clock
I
at night
don't know
until
whether
all
they're
the
satisfied now
all the
with their
cars
bridge.
you never go to
Your
bed
father,
in
oh
that
yes,
car.
he said, I don't mind
Every
if it comes to
Sunday.
them, see them
I think
competing
he's
here
got
all
to
the
do
year.
with the water
He
in
was
this boat building.